What's up, YouTube? This is Daniel Carter at Afro Herp Keeper. Today, me and this unkempt mop of hair are on the way to go take in a rescue ball python. So I have yet to see this girl in person, but from the pictures that I have seen, she is in pretty rough shape. She has rat bites all the way along down her back. They are scarred over, so she's not like in mortal danger right now, but she has wounds all along her spine. She has skin issues. She is supposedly blind, and she may or may not have a respiratory infection. So there are a whole host of problems going on with this snake. Like I said, I have not seen her in person yet. We are en route to pick her up right now, so let's get my intro out of the way, and we'll keep talking about her once I get there.
The planet we live on is infested with life. Creeping, crawling, slithering life. Once upon a time, everything we did revolved around the natural world. But now, there are billions of us, and we as a species have never strayed further from our roots. Even so, some of us continue to slip through the cracks. I'm not scared of any animal, no matter the number of teeth, claws, or legs. My only directive is to reconnect you with the wild, to defend the creatures that need it most, and to do my part to preserve the biodiversity of our remarkable world. My name is Daniel Carter, and you're watching Afro Herp Keeper.
So yeah, my intro is like 50 seconds long, and it's all about conserving the environment and fostering a love for biodiversity. And ball pythons, they're the most common snake in the United States. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of them. They don't really need any conservation, at least not in the pet trade. However, even though they're super abundant and have no need for protections on a species-wide scale, every single one of those snakes has a little light bulb on its head. It has something going on. And so what we have here is an animal in need of help, and we are going to endeavor to give it the help that it needs. I have some limited experience in treating pretty severe health problems in snakes. At the moment, I have 7 other snakes, boa constrictor, another ball python, a garter snake, 2 rattlesnakes, cottonmouth, and a western rat snake who is recovering from being caught in some landscape netting. Now, when I say I have experience in treating snakes, that doesn't mean I have any profound veterinary knowledge. It means that I know how to administer antibiotics, I know how to disinfect wounds, I know all the basic stuff, and that's because I have had snakes with health problems in the past. It's been a few months, but I had a blood python named Kosho. If you've been around on my channel long enough, you definitely will remember her. She had a really, really horrendous bacterial infection. I am sad to say that Kosho had to be euthanized due to the extent of her infection. I went to the best reptile vet in the state, who happens, thankfully, to live about an hour and a half from me, and try as we might, we could not find an effective antibiotic in time, and the infection started eating away at the bone structure of her face. And so, at this point, even if we had managed to find the correct antibiotic, she was so far gone that she would not have had any quality of life after recovery. So we made what would otherwise have been a difficult decision, but at this point was a pretty obvious decision, to have her put to sleep, and that was that. So, we're on the way to pick up another sick python. I'm hopeful that we can give this animal what it needs to recover. It comes with a tank and some hides and stuff, and we're going to be setting up a nice quarantine setup for it in another part of the house away from the rest of my snakes. And we'll see if I have the capacity to help this animal out, and if I don't, I'll be handing it off to a breeder who should be able to help it a little more than I can. But I haven't even seen this snake yet. I've been talking for like 7 minutes. So I'm going to turn the camera off until we actually get this thing, and I'll let you guys see what he looks like. Alright, y'all. Well, here she is. So this is a spider ball python, although it's a little hard to tell under all of that scabbing. This was a no questions asked, totally free handoff slash surrender, but I did get some backstory on this animal. So this girl, you can tell that she's in pretty rough shape. This is at least a year's worth of neglect, if not more. She has, if I can get a good shot, she has most certainly a respiratory infection. There is some black stuff coming out of her mouth. She has multiple layers of stuck shed on her eyes, so she has eye caps, and she is most certainly blind at the moment. Looks pretty darn bad, but after some hydration, we'll see if we can't try to get those off. We'll have to be extremely delicate with that because we don't want to damage her eyes as they are still under there. In addition to that, you can see that she has skin problems, and the most obvious and apparent affliction is the rat bites all the way down from her head to the tip of her tail. So if you feed your snake live prey, which in itself is fine, you should know that it comes with risks, and you should absolutely never, ever, ever leave a capable prey item like a rodent with extremely sharp gnawing teeth in with your snake, because if that rodent gets bored or hungry, the snake is the only other organic matter in the cage, and it's going to get chewed on. So this girl is honestly very lucky that the rat she was left with didn't bite any deeper. We got her home. My phone ran out of memory in the previous clip, so that is why we are suddenly here. Yeah, she's in really rough shape. She has bites all the way down her spine. It's really bad looking. There's a couple places where it's still red and exposed. So we are going to get this girl set up in a proper quarantine tank, and I am going to do just a little bit of her treatment for you guys to see. I should say that the people I picked this girl up from are not the people who left her in this condition. They got her from a coworker who clearly has no business taking care of animals. It is that person's neglect and lack of competence in caring for this animal that has led to this advanced state. So, how does a snake get quite this neglected? In addition to the injury, the rat bites, she has skin problems and a respiratory infection. And those are due to inadequate husbandry. So as you can probably tell, somebody put a lot of love and effort into this setup. That was sarcasm. The bowl is just a normal ceramic bowl. I guess it gets the job done, but it barely fits her. She has these two logs in here. She has this kind of weird styrofoam hide. And she has about ½ an inch of this dry, powdery dirt as her substrate. I can tell there's coconut core in there. I can't tell what else is in there, but it definitely looks like it's never been replaced. That totally dry, powdery substrate probably holds absolutely no humidity, and humidity is certainly necessary for these guys to have proper sheds. I could not say when the last time she had a full shed was. You can see that her skin is baggy and wrinkly. These are all indicative of skin issues, low humidity, but the rat bites are what tops it all off. So at least for now, her treatment regimen is going to be pretty simple. Every 48 hours, I'm going to give her a betadine soak. This is povidone iodine 10% compared to betadine. If it says this, you can use it for this purpose. Basically what we have here is a little bit of lukewarm water. It's just barely warm to the touch, and there's not a ton of it in there. She can get her head above water if she needs to. We're going to add enough of this to the water to make it look like a bit of a light tea color. Just a few more drops, I think, and we'll be good. And the purpose of this iodine is a general antiseptic, so it's going to disinfect the wounds that she has. That looks like about the right color. It looks like something other than tea, but that'll get the job done. So, we need to get her out of here. I do not think I'm going to use any of this stuff in her quarantine setup. One of the weirder hide boxes I've seen. So we're gonna take her, being very gentle with her, and she gets to sit in this lukewarm soak for about 15 minutes. I've got a bigger tub because she hardly fits in the pitcher. So we are gonna give her just enough water to cover all of her. She's a little buoyant. And we are gonna add some more iodine to this. We can get this directly on her. It's perfectly reptile safe. And it is also safe for her to drink, which is good because this soak has two purposes. One, the general antiseptic is good for cleaning her wounds and making sure that infection doesn't set in. And two, she does need to be rehydrated. These are at least not the freshest injuries anymore. She has had some time to heal over, if you can call it healing. So we're gonna let her sit in this for about 15 minutes. I might have to put the lid on, it looks like. But once she's properly hydrated and all of this dirt and stuff is off of her wounds, I think we'll get a clearer picture and we can move on to the second step. It is very, very sad that such a sweet and gentle animal as this has been through this much. Hopefully this soak not only gets some water into her, but rehydrates her skin a little bit as well. Obviously the first step is treating this rat bite here, but if we want to get those eye caps off and we want her skin to heal up in time, she is going to need to have a proper shed, or 3. I think it'll be quite a while before these wounds go away entirely. As bad as it looks right now, by all indications she should still have functioning eyes under there, so long as we can get this layer or 2 of unshed skin off at some point. So while she is in there, we're gonna dump all this crap out of here, and we're not dumping this outside because it is potentially a biohazard. We are gonna dump this in a trash bag and put it in the trash can. Now that most of the old substrate is gone, we are spraying this down with F10SC veterinary disinfectant. It's about the safest and most effective cage cleaner, surface cleaner you can buy. It's perfectly safe for pretty much any vertebrate. I think for invertebrates as well. I use it for everything, so. And then once that's got a nice coat, we're gonna let it sit for a minute, and then we are going to wipe it down. Because this is a quarantine setup, we're going really basic on the substrate. We are just going to use some paper towels. They get the job done, and they're very easy to replace anytime they get soiled. I'm going to do a couple layers of these. Simple, cheap, effective. Not something I would use long term, but for a sick animal, it's better to go simple and easy to clean. I collect used hides and equipment just for this purpose, in case I have a new face, or 2 or 3. So I've picked out a few things, and we're going to give them the same treatment we gave the cage. Just spray them all down with this veterinary disinfectant. For these, we're just going to let it dry, and then we're going to stick them in there. I think the camera caught that. He just had a fart. We are witnessing a bowel movement. As gross as that may be, it's an excellent first step for him, because who knows when the last time he had one of these was. He probably physically could not until we put him in this soak. Good job, buddy. Okay, let's finish this up so I can get him out of his poopy water. For his water dish, we are also going super simple, just a Pyrex Tupperware container. It's big enough to fit him inside, and that's the important thing. Okay, while the hide boxes are drying, you can probably see some of the interesting head tilt and wobble problems that spider ball pythons have. He's exhibiting it right now. So, before you get all poopy, I'll take you out of here. And so this is what spider ball pythons do. This is not part of his neglect. It's probably emphasized because of his neglect, but this morph actually has inherent neurological issues. So let's wrap this up so I can stop bothering him. That's pretty severe. So on top of everything else, it looks like this guy has a very pronounced head wobble. Yep, that's kind of hard to watch. I'm freaking out a little bit, bud. You okay? So we're gonna place him in here so that he can stop freaking out. So this is interesting, not quite what I expected to see. I'm not sure if this is attributable to the spider morph or if this is indicative of a more severe neurological issue. So I'm gonna be looking into that on top of everything else that he has going on. Now he did have a bowel movement, and as I said, that's an excellent first step towards recovery. What we're gonna be doing now, this is the second part of his treatment regimen. We're going to be doing both the soak and this every 48 hours, but what we're doing now is applying this Silvadene, silver sulfadiazine cream, to all of his bite marks, so basically all the way down his spine. This is a topical antibiotic disinfectant made by Ascend Laboratories, LLC. We're just going to take a dab of this at a time and brush it on his back, starting with probably the worst looking spots. And we're really going to go to town on this because we want it disappearing sooner rather than later. He's got to be very confused and concerned. He's had a long day, but hopefully this is his first step towards true recovery. Make sure to really get in there anywhere it's still exposed and red. And he has this all the way down his back. Really sad, truthfully. Even the tip of his tail is looking pretty gnawed on. We'll get that too. It's being very good for me. I don't know what the freak out was about a minute ago. It was a little concerning, so I will be looking into that. You can really see the mouth rot there. Thankfully, it looks like the rat stayed away from his face. Could have been a lot worse, even though it's pretty bad to begin with. And he is starting to object to this, so let's finish it up. Okay, he's had his soak, he had a bowel movement. He is now coated in antibiotic. Time to add all of his components in here. And for heat, he is gonna have a medium Zoomed heat pad on a thermostat. So here it is, incredibly simple setup, but hopefully enough going on to keep him at least somewhat entertained. His heat pad is going to be under this hide on this side so that he has the option to be either directly on top of it or next to it, but still feeling the heat. It is going to be plugged into a thermostat to ensure that he doesn't get fried. On top of all of his other issues, we don't want him getting cooked. And then on this side, he has these two smaller hides, which realistically won't fit him entirely, but they're what I had, and it'll give him something to explore. This is going to be his water dish. I might get a bigger one. It's going to go right here for now so that he has access to water. So thank you all very much for watching. I hope you learned a thing or two about reptile treatment. I hope that this guy starts showing improvement soon. We're going to be working on his eye caps once they're a little looser, trying to stave off his respiratory infection. I have some antibiotic injections I might be giving him at some point, but I'm not sure. I want to start simple for now. I know that I'm really hopeful that this guy improves. I think I mentioned this, but if I can't handle it, if he doesn't show improvement within a week or two, he's going to be handed over to a ball python breeder to try and get him back on track. I think I can handle it. I really want to see him get better. I'm sure all of you do too. So I'll be sure to keep you posted. Thank you all very much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments section. If you liked the video, leave a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel and you haven't seen my content before and you'd like to see more reptiles and amphibians, please feel free to hit subscribe. And if you are already subscribed and you have yet to do so, please feel free to hit the little bell icon to get notified when I upload a new video. Thank you all very much for watching, and have a good one.